So today we learn about artificial intelligence and machine learning and what is machine learning. So artificial intelligence is a kind of a high level umbrella where we provide the intelligence to the computer. So it requires human intelligence to do the facial recognition, know understand what we are talking about and what are the questions that we are asking to make decisions and having conversation. Even the chat GPT is coming under the AI. So machine learning is a subset of AI where we are not writing every single rule. If we are writing a program, what we are doing is we write every single rule within if else's, within some functions and all. But with the machine learning, what we are doing is we provide some examples, and machine will trying to understand a pattern where there is. As an example, let's say we give set of pictures of dogs, and machine will identify the patterns where it has some legs, tails, fur, and ears, and then we are given an image. Then machine can predict whether it's a dog or not. So it define its rules. So that's about the machine learning. So machine learning will come under different categories. So there are main three categories. One is supervised learning, and then we have unsupervised learning and reinforcement learning. So let me give an example. So you are daily working with mails, and you have a spam box, or where all the spam mails will come across. How this is happening? So these email servers have this machine learning algorithm, and these machines have been learned with different text and different patterns, and they can identify whether a mail is a spam or not. So this phenomena, or this way, is called a supervised learning. What it has is it is given set of mails, and also those mail is marked whether it's a spam mail or a not a spam mail. So machines will go through these mails and identify patterns with whether it's a spam mail or not, and then once it is given a new mail, it can predict whether it's a spam or not. So why we are calling this supervised learning? It is like a teacher showing you the correct answers. As an example, so when you are in a like when you are in universities, when you're in a school, you learn with answers. So you write the answer and check it whether it's correct or not. Then you revisit the question and learn it again. Likewise, you are given a set of emails and saying whether it's a spam or not, and you read the mail and try to predict whether it's a spam or not, and you check whether it's spam or not. As an example, if you predict it as a spam and you understand that it's not a spam, then you will just change how you think. Similarly, machines will do the same thing and change the algorithm and change how they think. So it's called supervised learning because you have the teacher or you have the answers with you. Then it's kind of a supervised way of learning, so we call it as a supervised learning. So with the supervised learning, what we are doing is we are trying to identify the patterns to get answers. So we call this spam or not a spam as labels, and we call the email as a feature. So there can be different features we'll come across with the next videos, and we deep dive into supervised learning. Then unsupervised learning. So when you're in the childhood, you'll give a different object. As an example, you'll get small circles and then triangles and squares, and you can easily categorize these things. So no one is going to say like, okay, squares and rectangles might come under one category, or some might categorize it as rectangles separately, squares separately. Likewise, so there are no labels like what are the categories, but what you are doing is you are identify the objects that you are given, and then you are try to categorize those things with the features that they have. The classic example is a customer grouping. So you are not saying that these are luxury buyers, these are weekend shoppers, likewise, but what you are trying to understand is what are the different patterns. So with these patterns you will get, okay, like we got three different categories, and when you're checking these categories, you will identify the categories you get. But the thing is, like, there is no final answer that you are getting. You are trying to get an answer with number of categories. As an example, let's say you are given different tools and you are asked to, okay, like divide this into two groups, and then what you are doing is you trying to understand the features and try to group it to two different groups. But if you ask to group it to three different groups, then you are trying to revisit the objects and try to group it into three different groups. Likewise, in the unsupervised learning, you are trying to categorize things. So there are different subcategories under unsupervised learning. We'll go through those things as well. Then reinforcement learning. So this is like the trial and error. So when we are riding a bicycle, when we are in childhood, what we are doing is we'll give the we are given the bicycle and we asked to ride it. So then in this way, what we are doing is we try to ride the bicycle, and we have fallen down, and then we learn, and then we likewise we learn how to ride a bicycle. Similarly to the machines as well, what we are doing is we ask machine to drive the path, and we provide a penalty if machine do some wrong thing, and then we provide a reward if it is done the correct thing. Likewise, it's a kind of a journey that we go with the machine, like as an example the self-driving cars and like games. Likewise, so reinforcement learning comes with this trial and error. So this is used for the journeys. So as an example, I'll revisit supervised learning. It's about label. You are given the data set and also you know the answers. So what you are doing is you are trying to identify the patterns to get these answers. So you got the answers. So you call this supervised learning. Then you come to the unsupervised learning, where you are trying to categorize things with the given features. So it might be two categories, three categories, and n categories. So it's about the number of categories you want to divide the data set. And then reinforcement learning, it's about the journey. So you train a human like or a machine to do some task with the reward and penalty, and then it tries to learn with the trial and error. So that's it for today. So in the next tutorial we'll come across with the supervised learning with different words like bias, variance, and then overfitting and underfitting, and what's the model is. Thank you.